Hurricane Florence, it is impacting North Carolina. It is a storm that is not as strong in wind as it was a couple of days ago, but it is now moving much more slowly, only 5 miles an hour. And you take that expansive area of rain and drift it to the west at 5 miles an hour. That tells you what the #1 threat is going to be from Florence. It's going to be flooding rain. As of late afternoon, September 13th, hurricane-force winds have been felt along the coast of North Carolina. That's why there's a hurricane warning there. It extends almost down to Charleston. And to the west of that, a tropical storm warning because winds can easily be 40, 50, 60 miles an hour along the I-95 corridor. Now, right at the coast, with the winds blowing water ashore, a storm surge warning. Storm surge could be as high as 11, 12 feet, and it may not go away quickly because the storm is moving slowly. So the threat of flooding. Notice how much of the Carolinas are covered by flash flood watches. And right now, North Carolina, a tornado watch along the coast because of those feeder bands bringing that spinning motion onshore that hurricanes develop. There's your satellite view, a broad area of clouds. The actual hurricane force winds as of late afternoon are still basically offshore. Now, as it moves toward the coast, the winds will slowly diminish mostly. It is crossing the Gulf Stream. The waters are warm, so it could pick up a little strength before it totally diminishes. Nonetheless, as I mentioned, a broad storm late afternoon with winds of 100 miles an hour, but only moving 5 miles an hour. So look at the computer models here. They all take it westward, and then most dip to the southwest, meaning this could literally ride right along the coast of South Carolina before making an official landfall and then going inland. That's a process that means storm surge continues, potential flooding rain continues. The projected wind speed by mid-afternoon tomorrow, 85 miles an hour, which doesn't sound that high compared to 140, but if it's moving slow and you're stuck under 85-mile-an-hour winds for hours, that's going to do a number on trees, which will easily fall as the soil gets soaked. The remnants of this, they'll end up in the Ohio Valley, heading up toward New York and Canada. So here's a closer view. One computer projection toward midday Friday afternoon. Still onshore winds creating storm surge for North Carolina, offshore winds for South Carolina, but notice the eye still projected on the coast, meaning the strongest winds offshore, but still heavy rain in bands and the threat of tornadoes for North Carolina. Now, from midday Friday to midnight going into Saturday, it doesn't move very much. That is the problem. It drifts southwestward into South Carolina, then westward, and then trying to go back toward the north. Now, that's Saturday midday, and between now and Saturday, notice it doesn't move that far. Threat of extreme rain, 20 to 30 inches and even more than 30 inches along the coast of North Carolina. Around that, 10 to 20 inches going into central North Carolina and even into northeastern South Carolina. Flooding will be the big deal. Along the northern Gulf Coast, things are quiet. The western Gulf has a tropical disturbance that's been drifting to the northwest. It's a 50-50 chance that it'll become a tropical depression before it gets to the coast of Texas in the next couple of days. Now, either way, it's going to be rain. Don't forget, subtropical storm Joyce, it's struggling to hold together in the North Atlantic. The Azores are right behind me. Now, Joyce is drifting to the southwest, but it's going to turn to the northeast. And as it goes into colder water with wind shear, it shouldn't last more than a couple of days. It's not going to interact with Helene. Helene is moving very quickly to the north at 21 miles an hour. It's a tropical storm, and there are tropical storm watches for the Azores. Helene will get very quickly ahead of Joyce and then fade away as it gets closer to Europe. That's what's going on in the eastern Atlantic. You know about Isaac, a tropical storm, also struggling to hold together. Most of the clouds being blown back to the west, but it is now in the Caribbean, moving westward at 16 miles an hour. The rate that it's looking right now, maybe several days, and it will basically fade away back to just a wave of low pressure. But notice that forecast cone. Jamaica will get some rain from this, but hopefully that'll be the worst impact. It's an active hurricane season. Stay updated, stay informed, and stay safe. I'm Chief Meteorologist Alan Seals.